Ask and you shall receive. What's up, guys? Your favorite player one, Richard here, out doing another bourbon hunt, and this week we are continuing our search looking for those newly released batches of the Jack Daniel's 10, 12, and 14 year. Now, last week we had some mild success when we were out at the store in South Haven. We did find 5 of those Jack Daniel's 10 year batch number 5s, but unfortunately the price that they were asking just didn't fit into our budget. So this week we're out in Olive Branch, neighboring town to South Haven, at one of my personal favorite stores, the Olive Branch Package Store. Now, hopefully they have some bottles here, and if they don't, that's okay, because I'm sure that we'll find something unique and extraordinary in this store. So enough standing in the parking lot, let's go inside and take a look at Olive Branch Package Store. All right when you walk in the store, the first thing that you're met with are going to be all of their store picks. And one of the great things about any of these bottles here is if you want to give it a try before you buy, you just got to simply ask. Now, they have things from your Knob Creek, Old Forester, Old Dominick, Russell's. Who doesn't love a good Crittenden's store pick? This one is a Family Reserve 6-year, 112.42 proof, and they have several of them here. You know how I feel about Crittenden's, a huge fan. One of the bigger selections of these Old Dominick picks. Now, I got to try this one a couple weeks ago when I came in. Absolutely extraordinary, especially if you love that Old Dominick straight from the straight wheat whiskey. There we go. I'll get it together. They do have a Jack Daniel's rye. Can't ever go wrong with these. Let's take a look at the proof. 127.6. Fantastic proof point as well. Another cool thing about this store is whenever you see the price tag, that already includes tax. So you don't have to worry about thinking too hard on whether or not you can fit any of these into your budget, because they have those labeled right there for you. Now, on to one of my favorite shelves of the store. This is where I find a lot of my favorites, including this Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye. Now, I picked up this bottle, I think right around this time last summer. Had never had really explored rye very much, and I killed this bottle within a couple of months. 123.1 proof, mashed, distilled, and aged charred American New Oak barrels in Indiana. Absolutely extraordinary bottle. Highly recommend it if that's something you're looking for. Now, I also love this because this is where I come to find my Crittenden's Cut Above if I can't find anything online. Now, they happen to have one of these hazmats. Now, I believe Matt had it at his store down in Kiln, Mississippi. I think a couple of these were made available at Spillway. Haven't really seen them anywhere else. So, like I said, this price tag here is going to be what you pay out the door. A couple of other offerings here. That rye, still haven't tried that yet. Heard good things. This one, lots of people have talked about. The sherry cask Cut Above. Mothman is another one that I have not added to my collection. And then these two here. Now, I can't say this enough. This is by far one of my favorite stores outside of the Memphis area, and you'll start to see why here in just a moment. They have tons of really cool bottles that you just can't find back at home. You have a lineup here of some really cool Starlight. Now, this one right here really intrigues me, and we're going to take this one down off the shelf. This is another Wyatt Earp American single malt. I've never seen one at this high of an age statement. 13 years, cask strength, but really what the cool thing is here is that it's hazmat. 82% alcohol by volume, so that's 164 proof. So spoke to the owner just a moment ago. He said if you pick up that one, definitely want to add some water to it to cool that one down. Now, they have a Willet Purple Top up here, 12-year age statement at 119 proof. Now directly below it, probably the largest selection that you're going to see of Garrison Brothers right outside of the Memphis area. They have your small batch, the Honeydew, several single barrels, the Guadalupe, Ladybird, everything that you would want here from Garrison Brothers. Now another thing fun about this store is that they just have great products just hidden on the shelf, and if you go too fast then you're going to probably miss out on some of them, like this Elijah Craig 18 year sitting up here. I've heard mixed reviews on this one. I've heard lots of positive things about the 15 year, but who knows? Usually these bottles are going to be out of my price range, but if you're looking for one, they have one here at Olive Branch Package Store. Now, as we move down to this next shelf, we see more options of the Peerless. I got to try the Toasted Rye at another store back at home. Fantastic pour, and they have quite a few of them here if that is something that you're looking for. Again, just great things all around on these shelves. We're not going to talk too much about the Old Dominic here. You know that that's one of my favorites, as well as that Blue Note. But what I really want to point out is going to be these two options over here coming out of Distillery Acadian out of Louisiana. Now this is their Cajun cut. We did happen to see this at another store last week. 94 proof. This is their Louisiana straight bourbon whiskey. And then we did pick up a bottle from our good friends, Three Guys, One Grain, their picks of that Bonvale American Single Malt. Now this one is at cask strength, slightly higher proof, maybe the exact same proof or pretty close to it than the bottle that I picked up, 124.6. Now another really cool thing is just their little wall of knickknacks that are over here. I absolutely just love walking by here. Now I'm pretty sure that those bottles that are tucked away here in this display aren't for sale unless they have a price tag, but I told you about things just being hidden, and you would miss some stuff if you didn't look all the way up. So hopefully there's not too much of a glare here, but they have quite a few just different options up here on this tippy top shelf that you may be interested in, like this Lock, Stock and Barrel Straight Rye. Never heard of that before. RJ Cooper and Sons 20-year double pot stilled whiskey. That sounds extraordinary and way out of my price range, but hopefully somebody might snag it. There is that Old Forester 1924, and then I believe that Remus Babe Ruth Reserve came out last year, and they have a bottle just sitting up here waiting for you. Now, since we're in Mississippi, let's showcase some of the different products that come out of this great state. And we have some of those different options here from the Cathead Distillery. We have several different options from Old Soul. We have a single barrel high rye, that straight wheat whiskey, their pot distilled 7-year-old straight bourbon whiskey, and then we have come across these different 10 type series in several other stores within the state. All these are at different proof points representing different artists. Here, let's see here, 121.8 proof, 110.1, and then 103. Interesting enough, as you look at these, this one, the highest proof point, 7 year, and then your lowest proof point is going to be at the highest year. Interesting. I'd love to know their process on why they made that choice. Now moving over right along, two different options from Chicken Cock, including this Double Oak Kentucky whiskey. Interesting enough, I recently discovered or found out that the reason that this company is called Chicken Cock is because long ago they didn't have a word for rooster. They actually called the male chickens chicken cocks, and so that name, I guess, just has stuck with the brand. Now, as we move along, Uncle Nearest, I was very intrigued by this cognac finish, but once I saw the price, that was definitely a no-go for me. They do have more things that are hidden, There's that Stewart's release that we've been seeing popping up in some different areas. This Blue Label American single malt here, coming out of Stranahan's. That is the Blue Peak single malt whiskey. So continuing to look back up top, more extraordinary bottles just up here. You know, if you tend to not look up and only focus on the shelves, then there's a good chance that you're probably going to miss out on something that you may have been looking for quite some time. Kentucky Owl, Old Ezra, that collaboration between the Leopold brothers and George Dickel, and then some more Willet up top. Now, as you come back down, I love it how stores will separate their ryes from their bourbons, so you don't really have to just kind of navigate and hope that you can find one of those green labels that you traditionally associate with a rye whiskey. Now, one thing that really catches my eye is going to be this sherry cask finished rye whiskey. Sherry usually offers up that sweeter note, and I believe rye whiskey typically will play well with lots of finishes. Really just helps to balance them out. So that one's really intriguing to me. Minor case, straight rye whiskey, and a sherry cask finish. Old Overholt over here, and then a couple of Brothers Bond. Good to find JT Mellick up here, a lot closer to home. This one is that 118 proof. If you don't recall, JT Mellick is going to be a rice whiskey. Now, I've heard that their store picks are pretty good, but if you can't get your hand on a store or barrel pick, this 118 is definitely worth picking up. Like I mentioned before, tons of great things here, neat bottles, things that you can't find in the Memphis area. So if you happen to be passing through Olive Branch, make sure that you stop by the Olive Branch package store. Tons of great things that you, like I said, you can't find back in the Memphis area. Starting to see more of that Wild Turkey 8-year 101. Like I said before, they have tons of store picks that they are willing to allow you to try as well. Now, one thing sitting here on the bottom shelf, not that special commemorative edition that was at the 117.76 proof, but they do have a small bottle and a much larger bottle of this 1783 commemorative at 90 proof, and just shy of $40 is a heck of a price for that bottle. Like I said, if you're not paying attention, you're going to pass up on some really cool bottles here, and they have several different offerings of this Paul Sutton, ranging from their small single barrels here up to this limited release 9-year. Looks like it's coming in at 113.2 proof. They have this limited release Heritage Collection, 113.2 proof. This one is a 17-year straight bourbon whiskey, and then lastly this limited release 8-year at 105 proof. All right, ask and you shall receive. I asked one of the kind employees here at Olive Branch Package Store if they had any of the Jack Daniel's 10, 12, or 14 years, and they were kind enough to go check in the back, and they said that this is the last bottle that they have. Now, of course, with this being the last bottle, you are going to have to make sure you speak to an employee, and they will have to go retrieve it for you from the back. All right, well, this was too good to pass up. I wanted to give this a try. This is their straight wheat whiskey, 124.73 proof. Oh my gosh. If you have not tried any of these straight wheat whiskeys from Old Dominick, you are truly doing yourself a disservice. And they have quite a few of them over here at the Olive Branch Package Store. So you should just go ahead and swing on by, grab one of these, because this store pick is phenomenal. All right, guys, well, we went in with a goal in mind, and that was to try to find another one of the Jack Daniel newly released batches, and we did have some success. They actually had that Jack Daniel's 12-year batch number 4. Now the price actually was not very bad at all. I believe they rang it up and it was around $139.99, a little bit outside of our budget. Plus I was really hoping it was going to be the 10 years. So I did leave it here for hopefully a lucky one of you if that is what you are looking for. Now I did walk away with something. You know that I like to say thank you and purchase something as a way of saying thanks for letting me film. And today I picked up something that's been missing from my whoopsie daisy from my Crittenden collection, and that is this Mothman. Now if you are not familiar with Mothman, it is a bourbon whiskey finished in Moscato. I'm probably slaughtering that. We'll just say tons of different wine cask here, and it has a really cool looking wax top on it. So didn't walk out completely empty-handed, came up with something pretty cool. Wasn't the jack that we were looking for, but that's all right too. All right guys, well I certainly hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you as always for sticking until the end. Check out Olive Branch Package Store here in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Truly a cool store with great staff. All right guys, as always, thank you for sticking until the end. I'm your favorite player one, Richard. Have a good one.